Christianity has become.
All right, now listen up. 3, 2, 1.
It's showtime.
That's great.
This is ridiculous.
99.3 The Truth.
You can't handle the truth right now.
Ooh.
That's the stupidest thing I ever heard.
Let's do it.
Hit it.
It's time for Mac's World.
And here we go.
Everybody here. Everybody here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started.
Call Mac 244-0077 or text 809-0993.
It's showtime, everybody. Showtime.
Exclusively on 99.3 The Truth.
7 minutes past the top of the hour. It's 4:07 on the Friday after Thanksgiving 2016. Woo! Did I sound sufficiently excited about that?
For the game.
I do know the score of the Iowa-Nebraska game, and it is what, Terry?
13-3.
No, it's 20-3 now.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, in just a matter of seconds.
In the matter of seconds, 20-3.
20-3.
20-3. So
But
Nebraska.
remember, Nebraska's a comeback team in the fourth quarter.
It's right there. Nebraska. You said, Carl.
We kept
Nebraska,
saying that with Ohio when they were ahead 55-3, but I don't think we ever made the comeback.
You guys, Nebraska doesn't choke. That's what you told
Nebraska
me.
doesn't choke. We either just trip or we make it.
So this might be a trip. No hard feelings, so it'll be all right. Be all right. So where's the game at? It's actually here in Iowa City this time, isn't it? Wasn't it last year? It was in Nebraska.
It's at Kinnick Stadium this time.
Yeah, Kinnick Stadium. Yeah, you can tell I'm a native. So welcome to Mac's World Live. The regular cast of characters are here, minus 2 people. Today, Mac is not here, and Jeb is not here producing. In fact, we've got Frank the Verse Thomas, who's producing the broadcast today. And I thank you, Frank, for coming in to produce the broadcast the day after Thanksgiving, bud. Thanks.
Say hi, Frank. Hi.
Hi, Frank. Yes, hi, Frank. And Bob, you're here as well. Normal Cat in the Hat is here watching the chat. Thanks for coming in day after Thanksgiving. Did you have all the turkey you wanted to have?
That'll be today.
You're going to have turkey today?
Yeah, I got some leftovers.
So what did you – oh, but you did eat turkey yesterday then?
No.
No? What did you eat yesterday?
What did I have? I had chicken.
Chicken?
Chicken salad, yeah.
Wait, what? Chicken salad?
Yeah.
You're a rebel, man.
Oh, yeah.
That's just crazy rebellion. I would have liked to have a hamburger, but they made me eat turkey and stuffing and mashed potatoes and green beans. And
I didn't even have ham.
You didn't even have ham?
Aren't those the 2 choices?
That's it,
Turkey and ham?
Yeah. See, I like the ham for leftovers. That's what we did at our family. We actually cook the ham, cut it up and bag it just for leftovers. And then the turkey is, I mean, there's leftover turkey too. But cold ham, leftover ham is good.
I was just wondering, did you do any of the cooking?
No.
Did you do any of the preparation?
No.
So what was your job? Just to eat?
I have to eat. You know, some people have the spiritual gift of giving. So likewise, some people have to have the spiritual gift of receiving.
Listen,
it's not my fault that I have the spiritual gift of receiving. That's just,
Bob,
how God made me.
He done part of the sleeping, though.
And I did part of the sleeping. I did some of the staying out of the way. You got to do that. I mean, somebody's got to stay out of the way.
Dishes?
Yes, I did help a little bit with dishes, yeah.
A little bit. Now, how does that interpret that?
Like I picked up the plate that I ate on and I took it to the kitchen.
Oh, that
like
is
no
a little
one, yeah, no one did that for me. So I did that all by myself. No, in all seriousness, we actually, here's how fancy we are. We had my wife's family, her parents, and they're not listening. They're in Pella right now. What am I worried about? So, and her sister's family all came up. So there was 8 of us all together, and we were around this big, large table, and it was beautiful, white tablecloth, big, long table, 8 people around it, and we were eating on paper plates. So, you just got to kind of balance those things out.
Yeah, but were they white paper plates or were they Thanksgiving-type plates?
No, they were like white and blue generic. Get them from the dollar store kind of paper plates. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds like you.
Yeah, sounds like me. Dollar store, paper plates. Yeah.
So there was no plate washing going on.
No, we just had to throw everything away because there was lots of other stuff to wash and clean.
Yeah, the pots and pans.
The pots and pans, yeah, which I didn't do any of. So we were just talking in the break how we feel like we're the B team. Are we living up to the B team standards by talking about, what we had yesterday to eat?
That's more A team.
Is that more A-team
Those
stuff?
are A-teams, yeah.
The A-team talks about what they had.
Oh, yeah. We talk about... Yeah.
What about the swim team, Frank? What did you get to eat yesterday? They let you eat?
Oh, my, did we ever. We had turkey. That's our standard fare. No ham. But turkey, mashed potatoes, I mean, the works. It was super. It was great.
Is all your family local, or did they come in, or you travel?
Well, we got kids scattered all over the place. So in this time it was just our sister and my wife's sister-in-law and her sister. So it was a small group. So yeah, I got leftovers.
There you go. Carl, how about you? Did they let you eat anything yesterday?
Oh yeah, my wife cooked for 2 days. She got up at 6 o'clock in the morning on Thanksgiving Day, and I slept in till about 10 or 10:30, and dinner was supposed to be ready around noon. And my daughter came over, and my brother-in-law came over, and my son still's at home, so it was just the 5 of us sitting around a table feasting on a turkey. And after about 5 minutes, I said, we should slow down. Janet's been cooking for 2 days to get this thing ready. And everybody's plate was clean. And I'm thinking, holy cow, for 2 days worth of cooking. And it took us 5 minutes to eat this. I think it's time to go sit in the recliner and take a nap.
That's right. And watch the Cowboys win, just like Iowa Hawkeyes are going to win today. So, and Terry, they let you eat yesterday?
Yeah, it was kind of nice. I was comfortably reclining, similar to you.
Yes.
My wife made a great turkey. My son made his special sweet potato casserole. And his wife, Hope, made...
Does he put marshmallows on top of that?
No marshmallow, but it's got this brown sugar crumble on top.
Oh, nice.
And then his wife, Hope, made just fun... she has a secret ingredient. I don't know what she puts in the mashed potatoes, other than the little bit of sour cream, but they are good.
Wow, secret mashed potato recipe.
Yeah.
See, we just eat, potatoes peeled, smashed up, boiled water. That's just potatoes, mashed potatoes. Bud, did they let you eat anything yesterday?
Well, very well. I was at my son's home, and 4 of his children were there. I have 7 of my great-grandchildren were there.
Nice.
And on Tuesday, together with my wife, we made homemade bread. We ground our wheat.
Wow.
And that's a real treat. I'm still enjoying it.
I noticed he said we ground our wheat.
Yeah, so Bud, you worked on that, huh? You did some of the grinding yourself?
I sure did. You gotta ground the wheat.
That's awesome.
We buy our grain in 80-pound bags and honey, and use that for a sweetener in 40-pound containers.
Wow. So how much bread did you make?
Oh, it was enough. She made it in buns and in loaves as well. It's we're still enjoying it, but it went quite well. The family enjoyed it very much.
Absolutely.
Where's ours?
I forgot to bring them.
There you go. Well, very good. Well, these are the guys from, I want to thank you guys for coming. Like the show's over. That's not. But I want to thank you guys for taking time after a great Thanksgiving and time with family. You guys to come here and do this live broadcast the Friday after Thanksgiving. A lot of people don't do live broadcasts on this day. They pre-program or they do some radio broadcasts. But we're so passionate about S.W.I.M. You guys are passionate about Safe Water National Ministries that you guys took time away from your families to come here and do this broadcast. So thank you guys so much for doing this. You guys have heard 99.3 listeners hear me a lot talk about Safe Water International Ministries and the infected water that is in the developing world, and how Safe Water International Ministries has developed this product that creates a chlorine solution that can be added to the water and disinfect it. You've heard me talk about that on the radio, and I'm really excited about it. And we're going to be able to talk a little bit more about that as well. But one of the things that is cool about Safe Water International Ministries is that they have a system in place to get churches or large organizations, sometimes businesses, to get involved in what they call a build. So Terry, why don't you tell me what a build is?
Well, I mean, we don't have any employees, so we got 7 board members, and a lot of times in the past we were working out of Earl's Garage in New Sharon. And so we'd get together on Saturday and we'd build these units.
Right.
And we thought about, man, if we could get people involved to help with this process, it would connect the heart and the hand together with the ministry. And so we got a trailer, 16-foot enclosed trailer, and then we got some of these used work tables from Vermeer, these steel work tables. We had them sandblasted and painted them. And so we have 13 different workstations and all the tools and everything that's needed for a group of volunteers to build CPUs on site. And you can produce one unit every 10 minutes.
Wow. And how many, and that's, so the 13 stations, that's not, each station is one part of the building process, is that right?
Yeah, all the way from the beginning to packaging the unit at the end.
Okay. And this isn't a large unit. I mean, we talked about this. We've got one of the chlorine-producing units sitting on our table right now here in the studio. But so you have connected with some churches, and one of the first churches that you guys connected with to actually do this is Carl's church, who's with us, the Nebraska fan, the hopeful Nebraska fan from Valley, Nebraska. Your church is United Faith Community Church in Valley, and you guys did one of these builds. Now, your name is Ratcliffe, Earl Ratcliffe, the president of S.W.I.M. You guys we had on last week. So, Carl, did you just get bullied into this because your brother said you should do it right now, or I'm going to give you a noogie and you're going to...
Yeah, he's my elder brother. We used to go to his house all the time for Thanksgiving because it was where my folks were from that town, and it was a great central location to meet. And every time we'd get there for Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever, we'd hear more about S.W.I.M, and I'd go out and in the garage and I'd see the products that they were working on, and I'd say, man, the folks at our church need something to do, and we'd like to maybe help with this.
Perfect.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Hey everybody, I brought Northern Lights Pizza, and it's got Graziano sausage.
Rock and Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens, rock on! This is Pat McManus for Rock and Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studio.
"21 minutes past the top of the hour. It's 4:21 on a Friday, the Friday after Thanksgiving. Thank you for listening to 99.3 FM The Truth. This is Max World Live. We are live right now at 4:21 in the afternoon. Thanks for tuning in. Guys, do we have an update from the mobile phone on the game? The last time we checked, Iowa State is what I was going to say, but the Hawkeyes were beating Nebraska into the pulp 20-3. I don't know if that's changed. The way that score was moving at the beginning of the game, who knows what could have happened at this point. It's still 20-3, says Terry. The mics can all be on, Frank, by the way. That'll probably just be easier. Frank the Verse Thomas is producing the broadcast for us today. Thank you, Frank, for coming in on what is a day off for most of the rest of the folks here at 99.3. But we're doing this live broadcast with Safe Water International Ministries because we want to be able to talk with you about this. Also give you the opportunity to ask any questions if you've got them for Safe Water International Ministries, as you've heard me talk about S.W.I.M on the radio already the last week or so. So we're going to go back into where we were. You know, one of the things that's neat about S.W.I.M is this unit, this chlorine-producing unit. I've got one in front of me. What this thing does is it takes a saline solution or salt water, uses 12 volts of electricity, right? Uses electricity and basically separates the salts or the I don't know. I'm not a chemist.
The chlorine out of the salt solution, NaCl.
The sodium chloride
is part of it.
Sodium chloride, right?
Yep.
And that creates the chlorine solution that then can be added to infected water. It makes safe water that cleans the water for the people to drink, and also as they drink the clean water, it begins to heal their body. Terry, real quick, why don't you tell me the components to this thing, because we're going to talk about what Carl's church is doing, and they assemble these and how other people can be a part of the process. So give me a quick rundown of all the pieces and components to this thing.
Well, there's some injection molded parts. So you got a plastic cup, if you will, that has a plastic bottom with a little hole in it. And then in between that cup and the bottom, there's a couple of plates that have been molded into the plastic. And so you glue the pieces all together. There's a couple of wires that run out of it that are just they're like your speaker wires, and on the end of it are these little battery clamps that you use to connect to a motorcycle battery or car battery for the power. So it's pretty simple. There's not.
And do you guys build the little?
No.
It's on a little stand. You guys don't assemble the stands. You guys just at the builds that churches can do. You guys actually just build the CPU itself. The plastic device here, and then so this is just PVC pipe, some smaller PVC pipe that makes a little stand here that holds that up so that you guys use. So,
hey, Chris.
Yes, Frank.
Bob actually made some this weekend.
Oh, that's right, Bob. You built one this weekend, didn't you?
I didn't build it. I just used it. I went out to the store and bought some table salt and used the pre-measured tablespoon container they had in there.
Right.
And poured it into. I used filtered water because it didn't have any chlorine in it. You know, the water I was using. So then I added the salt and the water and shook it up and then connected that unit to the battery, turned on power on the battery, and then poured it in and felt the warm fizziness coming in my hand, and my aim, I wanted to make sure that my aim was correct, so I'd get it in the other container to collect the 5 ounces or so of liquid, and then when I collected it all, then I just reversed the containers and poured it back in, and then reversed it again and poured it back in, and I knew I was only supposed to do it 5 times, but I went 6 times.
Uh-oh.
And it still was fuzzing. And then I took it and I was smelling it and said, "Yep, smells like chlorine." Yep. So then I tested it because you have the test kit there. I got a 16-ounce bottle, put 5 drops, but turned out to probably be 8 or 10 because I didn't know how to control the dropper. And that's just comes, there's a skill that you have to use to learn how to use some of this equipment. And since I'm a scientist, I knew that I was going to make some mistakes because we do that kind of stuff.
Scientists make mistakes?
They do. They do.
I don't believe
it. And then I tested it and then held it up to the light so I could see the color and matched it across to see if it was the right strength. And then I also poured some of that into a spray bottle and went up to my shower and started spraying the walls of my shower to, knock out some of that bad gunk that collects there from a lot of showers. So I was using it and showed my daughter and explained it to her, and she didn't have a chance to work it herself, but maybe I can get her to do it and see if she can, handle it. It's pretty easy. It's well made, and you don't have to worry about electrocuting yourself because it's well insulated. It's there's nothing exposed that you would hurt yourself, and the water makes the electrical connection so that the process of the electrolysis process takes place, and cleaves the sodium and the chlorine, and there you go. So it's a good thing. Works great.
Well, there you go. Glowing testament. So you could read the instructions and use it. You were smart enough to figure it out.
Actually, I didn't read any instructions.
You went off seeing it done from Terry, or what?
I did, and I saw those guys doing it, and they seemed to do it well, in my opinion. I mean,
see, that's really cool to hear, because you think about a unit like this, something that's going to take salt water and make it into chlorine, and you've got these measurements and you've got all these little different things that Bob was talking about, and we take this to the developing world where you might have a language barrier, you might have a language problem, communications could be some challenge. But what I just heard Bob say is he watched you guys do it and then knew how to do it from an observation, right?
Yeah, and I just thought, if I had to make 5 or 10 gallons, I was saying, boy, do I have to count 1,375 drops? I don't know. So I'd have to, figure out a better way to do it than counting drops. That'd take a long time, wouldn't you think?
We have a little reference card that goes inside of the kit that makes all those conversions for you, so you don't have to do that. You can use a cap for a pot, for a pop bottle. So yeah, I mean,
I was waiting for him to jump in,
Oh, you were setting him up, or you were giving him the softball for him to set him up.
Yeah.
So that's cool. And so one of the things, not only can people get involved with Safe Water International Ministries by going to the website, swimforhim.org, which is the website. You can see these, and you can go there. You can donate to help raise the funds needed to actually produce these units to provide chlorine around the world and safe water around the world. But you can also get your church involved and do a build at your church. And Carl is with us. You were talking about this right before we went to break, that you're from Valley, Nebraska, United Faith Community Church, and your church has done several of these. What was it like to do one of these together? How did the church respond?
Oh, it was terrific. We had Greg Stout, who was the founder of this, came to our church before, and he had presented what you do, and we had people get excited about it, and they were willing to give money to it, but then you kind of forget about it, and it just kind of goes by the wayside. And so every time when I'd talk with Earl, I'd say, boy, I'd love to have our folks get involved with this hands-on so that they actually see how it does it, and then they can feel like they did something, that they did more than just write out a check or just give a little money and then forget it. And so when they came, they I don't even know if you had the trailer yet at that point for the very first one, but they brought everything out, and we set up these stations, and then they went back and refined it a little bit more. But so the second time they came out, it was really slick, the way they had all the workstations set up. Everything was wheeled in, and everybody knew exactly what to do, and we probably made fewer errors on any of them, I'm sure, that way too.
Well, now, Carl, you strike me as a guy who might know how to do something like that. You've got suspenders on here that are the measuring tape suspenders.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I measure up. But.
Yeah, you're not sure if you measure up. There you go. And so maybe you know how to put one of these things together, but did you find it was complicated or easy? Or?
Not complicated at all for our people. It was so very simply laid out. Part of it was you pull off this many inches of wire and then you cut it off. That was one station. That was pretty simple. And then the first time, I think we were trying to just use some little things to cut and try to estimate how much wire to take off. And somebody was with me, and it was somebody who had never even gone to our church before, happened to show up for that. He says, "Oh, they've got these little things at the hardware store that strips just a certain amount of wire." And he went out and bought one of those, brought it to me, and said, "Here, give it to those guys so they can use it." I thought that was pretty cool. And
we use it all the time.
And they use it all the time.
We bought a couple more. They're so great.
It was like we didn't even have to measure how much to cut off the end. You just hold it into that device and it strips it. And we went from place to place, and we had an old guy who was a radio technician from KMA when it started or whatever. I think he's 93 now. And so he wanted to run the soldering iron. So he got to solder some things. But it was very simple going around, and part of it is you get to one stage and you just hold your finger in the bottom of it, you fill it full of water, and you make sure it doesn't leak. Well, that was pretty simple. Somebody could do that,
But it's a necessary component of the whole process.
But you have to test it because, I mean, what happens if you get to Nicaragua and the thing doesn't work? So everything has to be tested and done right, and it walked through so simply and we try to keep it where we have mostly adults or upper teens do it. But I think some of those stages, and maybe at some of them, you might even have some of the younger teens be able to cut a length of wire or do whatever. You have to be careful with what you do there. But they were all pretty simple.
Yeah, 10 and up typically is what we look for in the way of volunteers.
Did you have some young people do it, Carl?
We had a few that were probably 10, 12 years old who were able to help or stand next to somebody else and do part of them, with an adult or whatever. And then the neat thing that we did that very first time was some of our ladies went and took a picture of the whole group. They ran up to the church, they made copies of that picture, and then we had something typed up, and we attached one of those cards to every one of these 50 chlorinators that went out. And I think this last year we finally got the last of those back. But it was phenomenal because we put our address on it. We drew a picture of the United States and where we're at, and here's who we are, and a picture of us. And then the people from those churches sent us pictures if they could, or they sent us letters. The very first thing we got back was a stack of letters from somebody who had a school, and there were probably 20 letters in there from kids who were in the high school who probably as a part of a writing class gave us their testimony of what difference it made in their lives. Holy cow, when you bring that to your church and you lay these papers out in front of them and the kids are writing out the difference that it's made in their life, it's incredible.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Now, Terry, do you guys do that at other places? That's a really great idea to have the church kind of tag the units that they're building so that they can have this communication and connection with the people that they end up going to. Do you do that normally, or is that something that Carl just does?
Carl's group took the initiative and did that. We've had other churches that have done similar things. Fritz, when he just went to India and took 91 units, every one of them was serial numbered. Everyone, we know exactly who they went to, and so they're tracked on how they're being used. So we get feedback to understand that, this is a gift that people gave money for. It's a gift that they put their time into, and we just want to make sure there's good stewardship with what we're doing. So, I mean, these are actually, this is the first time I'd heard this, and it's awesome feedback.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one of the things that I hear myself say on the radio is that these go with Christian missionaries. That's something to remember. These safe water devices, they are built and put in the hands of Christian missionaries that take them to the developing world and actually see these, train people how to use them, and empower them to use this and to transform the community around them. Safe Water International Ministries are the folks that are our guests. You can find out more about them online at S.W.I.M for Him. That's SWIMFORHIM.org.
Northern Lights Pizza's amazing garlic butter makes amazing breadsticks. Now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza. I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Homs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed, Fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money-back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're gonna make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
It's 4:38 in the afternoon on a Friday, the Friday after Thanksgiving in 2016. Thank you for tuning in. This is 99.3 FM, The Truth. This is Mac's World Live. I'm Chris Roloff filling in for Mac. Bob Montserrat is here. Frank is producing the broadcast today, and the folks from Safe Water International Ministries are with us. And I believe we hit halftime. Is that right? But either way, Iowa is now at the half, beating Nebraska 20-3. So just that's the update. That's we don't know the plays. We don't know how demoralized Nebraska is, but we just know that they're in the locker rooms crying, sipping on tea because people from Nebraska drink sissy tea. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. My goodness, I'm going to get people are throwing stuff at the radio right now. I felt that. I felt that shout. I'm sorry. We've got the guys from Safe Water International Ministries here, and why do they do this work? Why do they go through the trouble of building these chlorine-producing units, a CPU like this, and taking it around the world? Why do they go through all that? Is it just because they have nothing better to do with their time? Well, let me give you Bud is going to read a letter for us. You're going to get to hear why Safe Water International Ministries, one of the reasons why Safe Water International Ministries does the work that they do. Bud?
My name is Smiley, studying at the 10th grade class at a government high school. We are from India, living in a village in country, using an 8-step process known as followership, or our guardian Ye Prakasha and Pastor Fritz Trost taught us what it means to be a follower and disciple of Jesus Christ. Now we are so glad to be children of God and disciples of Christ. The 7th step of the followership process is multiply. Learning what this means as a follower of Jesus has changed my attitude, and I started to share what I had learned with others. I live in an orphanage, and as a girl, I'm not able to go with Pastor Ye Prakash on various outreaches, but God gave me a very good opportunity to spread His word through debate competition in our school. I prayed and I talked about fellowship in competition with 300+ participants who were Hindu. God used me there, and many came to know the true God. I won 2nd place in competition, and a girl named Divya got touched and accepted Jesus as her Savior. I thank Fritz and the team for their support and encouragement. Also, I thank S.W.I.M for keeping us healthy with safe water. Our school principal is interested in using the CPU to make the water in the tank at the school safe for the children. Thank you for your prayers. Praise the Lord.
Thank you for reading that, Bud. Tell us a little bit more about that story, Terry. You know some about that.
Well, Fritz actually received a letter from Smiley not too long after he had gotten back.
And where is she from?
She's from Central India.
Okay.
And so she's an orphan, and she's in the 12th grade, and so she's an orphan at this orphanage, and there's a lot of kids there. And when Fritz was there demonstrating the CPU and talking about making disciples, Fritz is a gifted pastor, and so he in his testimony in talking about that, he used a great example of the multiplication of 2 and the power of that, where he would ask and demonstrate having people come up in groups of 2 and how that they could reach others within the church, and pretty soon the whole church was standing up in front. But he was talking about the step in the discipleship process journey that people go through about multiplication. How do you multiply? How do you make more disciples for Jesus Christ? And so this followership process that Fritz and his wife have been working on is so simple and universal, and it helps people understand how do you go from lost through the process of being saved, baptized, worship, followership, all the way through, your impact on the kingdom around you. And so she obviously was touched by that, and the picture disc that she received that she uses to explain that process. I mean, God just touched her heart and said, "Hey, you've got this opportunity. Maybe you can't go on an outreach to these other places because you're a girl, but there's an outreach right here, and this is what I'd like you to do." And so she did it.
And she, this young gal by the name of Smiley in Central India, she came to know, she lives in the orphanage.
Yes.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
She lived in the orphanage, and when Mobilize, Fritz Strauss' ministry, went over there, they took CPU units. They take one or they take multiples?
91.
They took 91 CPUs. Wow. They took 91 of these units with them into South India, and one of these got into to this orphanage where he ended up connecting with Smiley, and that was the beginning of the relationship that she had. Now, do you know, was this gal a believer before this point, or did she receive the gospel at that time?
I think she was a believer at this time.
But she was trained up then through the followership program, taught how to disciple, how to lead others to Christ, and she's become a witness then, right?
Right.
Yeah. And I love the part of that story that the principal of her school, where she did this debate, in a debate, think about that, in a government-run public high school. Can you imagine that in Des Moines? If somebody got up and said, all right, it's a debate class, I'm going to do my presentation now, and you did a presentation on how someone can come to know and follow and make disciples of the Lord Jesus Christ. There's no way that they would probably allow you to do that. And she did this in Central India, and not only that, she came in, did it say second place? I mean, she was awarded for doing this. Not only was she awarded to doing this, more importantly, someone actually came to know Jesus Christ through that presentation at her government school. And part of that connected the Safe Water message, the benefits of Safe Water International, so that she said the principal of the school is interested in having one of these CPU units at the high school, or not high school. Was it high school? I guess.
High school.
At the government school there in Central India, so that they can clean the water for people. Frank? Mm-hmm. You were going to say something, or you were just leaning forward? Nope. Oh, okay. I'm just, out of the corner of my eye, there was movement.
I mean, that's, S.W.I.M's vision is sharing Christ's love through water and His Word. And so, this is such a great tool to meet a physical need, much like, the disciples, when they went out, quite often they met a physical need through the power of the Holy Spirit and healing people. This provides that opportunity not only to meet that physical need, to show people how you care, but then there's so many scriptural references to living water and thirst and, purity and how you can use this to help communicate the gospel message to people is just, it's such a natural conversation while you're going about making the water safe to drink. And that's, that's why we've teamed up with Mobilize. That's why we've partnered with Fritz, so that we can be more intentional, more standardized around, what is the process that we can use to help people know that you just don't get saved and that's it. I mean, there's a process, there's a, that you go throughout your life. And so the neat thing about this is that you understand that as you grow in your faith, there are various phases that you go through. And so this is a nice way to show people you're not just done after you're saved.
Well, I think that's important to hear, because here in the United States, I mean, sometimes we just think, well, I got saved, I got my ticket to heaven, I can go on just doing my thing. And sometimes I think missions work. Sometimes in other countries, that's about as far as they go. I hear that a lot talked about. Maybe, Frank, you hear that a lot around in mission circles. People just saying, well, what are you doing for discipleship? What are you doing for follow-up? So you go over to this country, you preach the gospel, people come to know Jesus Christ as their Savior, and then you just leave them alone and you go back home. But the partnership that you guys are developing with Mobilize here to have a discipleship process along with this, not only are you building and providing sustainable life by disinfecting their water through the CPU device, you're actually providing long-term solutions to their spiritual needs as well. Not just giving them the gospel that they might believe, but empowering them to live whole, long, fruitful lives throughout the community. Real community transformation, I think, is what I'm hearing being talked about. Carl, we were talking with you about your church, and when we come back, I think we want to address a question that comes up every once in a while in our last segment, and that is it better to give somebody a fish when they're hungry or teach them how to fish? Is there a way that you can get people involved in this in the developing country and empower them? We're going to talk about that when we get back on 99.3.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids? Yeah!
If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of help, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens, rock on! This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
Northern Lights Pizza, your home of the tasty crust. Our garlic butter sauce now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common, everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios.
10 minutes before the top of the hour, and Salem Radio Network News is going to update us on what's going on around the world, and they will let you know that later this afternoon, Iowa will defeat Nebraska. They go into the half, Iowa beating Nebraska 20-3. I don't know why I just keep bringing that up. I have no skin in the game. I really don't care. I'm from Texas. what does it matter to me? Hey, thank you so much for listening to 99.3 FM. We have a few more minutes with the guys from Safe Water International Ministries. And really, the reason why I tell you that thing about the sports deal is because if you're out shopping right now and your significant other is at home watching the game, you can really impress them, see? You can walk back in from shopping. Look, honey, we did all this great Christmas shopping. Oh, yeah, and congrats. The Hawkeyes are doing really well. And he'll look at you and he'll say, wow, all right. This lady's okay. All right. That's really, I'm just trying to save marriages. That's all I'm trying to do. Just trying to help. So we're here with the guys from Safe Water International Ministries. And what happens when helping hurts? We had a call to ask into these guys last week that basically asked that. Where are times that helping, doing missions work actually hurts people? Carl, you actually were sharing a story just in the break right now. Share that story with us.
Yeah, a friend of mine who does a lot of trips over to Africa with navigators was sharing that a young girl, fresh out of college, I think, went over on a mission trip. She saw in a small village that most people's clothes were worn out. They only had one set of clothes. And so she felt a lot of compassion, and she came back to the United States, and she talked with the people in her church, and she raised enough money that they sent a container load of clothing, used clothing, but it was decent clothing. They sent it over and sent it to that small village that she'd visited, and hoping that would be a blessing, but it actually turned out he visited the town a few months later, and what had happened was they didn't have to take care of the clothes they had. They didn't have to wash the clothes they had because there's a container down at the end of town that we can go down and and it's all free. We can go down and get some more clothes, so I don't have to wash these clothes. I'll just leave them laying here, and I'll go get some more clothes. And 2-3 months later, when they finally ran out of clothes, all of a sudden it was a huge shock, and there were clothes laying all over town, and it was trash, and nothing had been taken care of. And it was actually probably one of the most harmful things to do for the village, even though it was done with a heart of compassion and gratitude and wanting to help. But it was just a little misguided.
Yeah, that can happen. And Terry, you said that you saw that on the streets of Katrina here in the United States when the first catastrophe happened there, that you went down and saw what?
Well, we were in Kilns, Mississippi, and I mean the same thing. A lot of people with very good intention had donated clothing for people that had lost everything, and there was so much that came in, it was just piled on the street corners, and so people would just pick through the pile of what they needed, and it got rained on. I mean, it wasn't protected. And it's so, thinking through, okay, how am I going to impact? In Haiti, for example, there was container loads of peanut butter that were sent to Haiti. Haiti grows peanuts, and it disrupted the economy so bad that the farmers couldn't sell their crop. And so thinking through, okay, how am I going to impact the local economy? If you can buy local, that's the best thing. But how am I going to impact that local economy when I send in peanuts or I send in backpacks or something else, clothing to a different country?
Yeah, and Frank, we talked about that. How is Safe Water International Ministries different than that? What are you guys doing?
It's so very easy, as been mentioned, to give things away. And when we do that, we take away people's dignity and their self-worth. And everybody has abilities, no matter how small. And whether we think that people in a third world country can't do anything for themselves, they can. And whether it's like Terry mentioned, a few pennies, a few Cordobas, or whatever it might be, they can pay something. And when they do, they have ownership of the product, and then they have the pride of ownership. Very important. What we've found out in the past is that, and we did give our units away, but when they didn't have the ownership, chances are it would end up on the shelf and would not be used. So we've changed our philosophy in that way, and definitely have suggested that a little bit be paid for the units, and it's worked much, much better.
And there was another thing I think I recall, because with these chlorine-producing units, one of the things that is needed is the source of electricity, is the electrical source. And sometimes that battery, then like a small motorcycle battery, right? How do you guys connect with the community with that, Terry?
Well, what we'll do is we'll work with locals. And so, for example, when Fritz was in India, even though they received a CPU, one person in that community could not afford a battery, not at $80. But when you got the whole church together and everybody gave a little bit and they were able to buy that battery, then there was a sense of ownership in that, and they wanted to take care of it because now they could power the CPU to make the chlorine to make the water safe. And so, so we've used that different places to be able to get buy-in. In countries like in Africa where we're working, solar panels, because you're in such a remote area, the only way to recharge a battery is to have a solar panel with a charge controller. So, we might provide the funding for the solar panel, but somebody else needs to provide the funding for a charge controller. So it depends on every situation is a little bit different, but Frank's right. Having that sense of ownership empowers people to take care of what you've given them.
Well, and I think, go ahead, Frank. Go ahead.
And we try to buy things in country as much as possible. The solar panels, generally, there's people that sell them. Well, give them the business. Batteries. Every country sells batteries. Salt. Buy it in country. We don't have to take it from this part of the country and bring it over there. Shipping, of course, costs an awful lot. So we try to help the economy as much as possible as well. And that, again, helps the business people with that self-worth and the feeling of accomplishment and of being able to do something.
Safe Water International Ministries is who we're talking with. You can find out more about what they do online. Their website is swimforhim.org, SWIMFORHIM.org, swimforhim.org. Check them out online. You can see the units that we're talking about, the chlorine-producing units, the Safe Water units. And Bob?
Just want you to know the score is 26-3.
Ah, yes. They've come back from the locker room. Nebraska was distraught. But Iowa City, the Hawkeyes, they were in high spirits and crushed them. Why 6? What happened at the extra point? Or was that 2 field goals? How did they get 2 field goals probably? That's probably more probable than not the extra point, right?
Well, they had 3 at the half, so it had to have been another field goal.
Well, no, I'm sorry. Wait, what did you say it was? It was 20...
26-3.
26-3. So, yeah, the Hawkeyes went up 6. I was trying to figure out. It's probably more probable that they did 2.
Goal, yeah.
Could be wide right.
It could be wide right. Oh, Frank is giving me some kind of a hand gesture. Must be that, Hank, the Bible Answer Man's coming up next, Frank, and you're going to be guest hosting the Bible Answer Man program, Frank?
Yeah, I'm filling in for Hank today. It's Ask Frank Anything.
It's Ask Frank. The number is the same. So if you've got a question for Frank, just call 1-888-ASK-HANK. No, don't be confused by that. Just 1-888-ASK-HANK. Next.